You're listening to The Bible Guys, a podcast where a couple of friends talk about the Bible in fun and practical ways.
Good morning, good morning.
Wow.
We talk the whole night through. Good morning to you.
Doop, 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 doop.
Assuming you're listening in the morning.
Or afternoon or evening.
Yeah, sure. It could be any one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, welcome to the Bible Guys. I'm Chris. This is Jeff. And we are here to give you a fantastic episode.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Because yesterday we said it was an excellent or great episode.
Yes. Well,
yes. Well, this one's going to be fantastic.
The other day I
We're
recorded
just ratcheting it up every day, taking another level.
I recorded a video last night with one of our worship leaders, Micah, to send to a church. And at the very end of the video, I said, it's going to be, fantastically appreciated. Mm-hmm. And then he said, that's great. And I said, well, we have to record that. I said fantastically appreciated or no, I said fantastically awesome. That's what I said. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I said, riveting. I can't say fantastically, can I?
Well, yes, but not in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastically is a word.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it didn't sound right when I said it. Anyway.
Good.
So this is going to be a fantastically awesome episode. So the segment that Desiree has us going forth with is called One Must Go. One Must Go.
That's right.
And I love this.
That's right.
It's one will
I did
stay,
not look at these, by
one
the
will
way.
go away forever. And now we established the rules last time, which is that means that this isn't just in our world. This means for the human race. When something goes, it goes away forever for everybody, right? That's the idea.
Forever for everybody.
I already know what you're going to say on the first one.
Okay.
So one must go is either mashed potatoes or hash browns.
Hash browns.
Yes, of course.
No doubt. I love hash browns.
I do too.
I love potatoes.
Yes.
So I got some Irish in me, so I love potatoes. But
Yes.
I would.
I have zero Irish in me, and potatoes are my favorite side.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are potatoes like an Italian thing?
Only when they're made in pierogies.
Yeah.
Actually, that's Polish.
I was gonna say it's Polish.
Yeah, but we had pierogies all the time. So actually, I'm getting confused here.
Yeah.
My wife or my mom made pierogies all the time.
Wow.
But yeah, I almost viewed them as an Italian dish because they were pasta, right? But not really. Those are Polish.
So, but hey, we have the corner on potatoes is all I'm saying.
Yeah. I don't think
so.
that there's...
I'm a little upset with Desiree for making me get rid of any potato dish.
Yes.
Quite honestly.
Yes.
So that's upsetting to me.
I do not think that potatoes are dominantly in any Italian dish, honestly.
Right.
Number 2, hard scoop or soft serve ice cream?
Oof. What's yours?
Soft serve has to go.
Me too. I say I like soft serve.
I do too.
But if I have to choose.
I had soft serve last night.
Yeah.
My son came home and said, what do you want from...
No, there he just goes bragging. I had soft serve last night.
Yeah, well, he brought it home, and I'm trying to eat well.
Mm-hmm.
But when my son says, hey, what's everybody want? We're all like, oh,
yeah.
He's trying to be nice.
You're the amazing shrinking man.
Not really.
Yeah. I'm working out, losing weight. Tough guy, man.
Yeah, I'm doing it the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number 3, mozzarella sticks or onion rings?
Oh, that's a no-brainer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love both of those a lot.
Yeah, mozzarella sticks.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, you have that much of a love for onion rings?
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've ever ordered mozzarella sticks in my life. I've had them a bunch of times, but it's because somebody else ordered them.
Well, they're Tori's favorite. So she orders them when they're on the appetizers. If we're getting an appetizer, she'll default to mozzarella sticks all the time. So I've learned to very much appreciate mozzarella sticks because of her, actually. So I'm going to say onion rings has to go.
Wow. So I used to work with a guy in a church down in Texas, and we got the contract at the local softball fields to run concessions. And so somebody donated a trailer, and then somebody donated a bunch of propane commercial equipment. We build this trailer out, turn it into the concession stand for this softball thing, and then he'd keep all the profits for his youth group. That's what he's doing, because we were broke. Our church didn't have any money down there. It was in Texas. And so his name's Monroe. Monroe was a great cook, and he just kept saying, I feel like I need a crunchy thing, right? And so at one day, our boss was gone, and we spent the entire day making onion rings.
Nice.
I bet you I ate 700 onion rings that day. I'm not joking. 700 bites of onion rings for sure. It was unbelievable, batch after batch after batch. And finally he got it, and he got it perfect. And from that point on, I would eat my weight in his onion rings, right? And so ever since then, I'm always chasing that onion ring again.
Yeah.
I've never actually had one that good again.
Ring.
Yeah, but I love onion rings.
That's so great.
Yep. I don't like the hard ones. I like the beer batter ones or the softer batter ones, not the crunchy ones.
And by the way, I love onion rings.
Yeah.
I just love cheese more, I think.
Yeah. I understand that.
All right, number 4. We have 5 of them total, but number 4 is, oh my goodness, tacos or burritos? Ooh. One has to go.
Well, that's all the same ingredients.
It's definitely true. Definitely true.
Tacos or burritos, so it's just the conveyance to your mouth.
Right. So I'm going to choose burritos only because...
Burritos forever are gone.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, Chris declared it.
Well, I mean...
Going to put Chipotle out of business.
The alternative is tacos forever are gone. Right?
Yeah,
and so tacos are more, they're more of a connoisseur kind of a treat.
They're more practical for sure.
Yeah, and people love their you don't see burrito trucks.
You don't see a lot of burrito photos either, but those perfect tacos with the sauce on the top and all that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to agree with you on this one.
Yeah.
Tacos.
You just can't do that to the world.
Yes, that's correct.
And then finally, what goes? Regular cake or ice cream cake?
Ooh.
There's a no-brainer.
Just cake in general.
No brainer for me.
That's regular cake.
You know what? I'm gonna go selfless here.
Yeah.
If it was only in my world, regular cake would go away because I don't really even like regular cake all that much. I love ice cream cake. However,
we've already decided we're keeping hard scoop, so that's here forever.
Oh, do these worlds collide, Jeff?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking.
So all 5 of these
so
are
we've
the
already
same
kept.
world?
So we're already keeping an ice cream forever.
Okay, you've blown my mind.
Yeah.
Right? We are removing 5 things from the world at the same time.
It's Jeff and Chris's multiverse of One Must Go.
I viewed these as 5 different worlds.
Yeah. No, I didn't. So we've just determined we're keeping an ice cream forever.
Okay, I'm going to say that regular cake stays.
Yes.
Ice cream cake goes, but not because of me, because I believe that's what the world would choose.
Because you're a good person.
I love the world.
You are for us.
Yes,
thank you.
I am.
And if Chris is for us, who could possibly be against us?
That is out of context. That's being misused.
No? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I want to claim that. Yeah.
Well, good. Well, we solved those. That was 7 minutes of incredibly important information there.
Yes, actually like 6 because I sang for like a minute.
That's right. Do you mind if we pivot?
No, that's transition well, Jeff. What's the good transition?
Well, I think from One Must Go, there was a king named Saul, and he had to go, and then David became the king.
Yes. Actually, no.
Ishbosheth.
Yes, you missed your cue.
Yeah.
It was Ishbosheth must go.
So, Ishbosheth was just in the way. It was really Saul that was the problem, but yeah. So, if you remember, Ishbosheth was Saul's son, and Abner had backed his play. And for about 7 years, there's this struggle between them of who's actually going to lead Israel. David had Judah backing him and some of the other villages, and Ishbosheth had the other tribes backing him. Finally, Abner and Ishbosheth are both murdered, and then David ascends to the throne. There's a big party, 3 days long. People are eating and drinking and celebrating and having a big time. And then 120,000 fighters came to David's army.
Yes.
Right? 120,000. They're like, dude, we want to be with David. David's the coolest guy in the world, right? So
it's the exact size of the city of Nineveh.
Yeah, so there you go. 120,000 people armed with every kind of weapon. And all these men came in battle array to Hebron with the single purpose of making David king over all Israel, the Bible says. So then David captures Jerusalem, and the Jebusites had it. He captures it, sets it into his kingdom, or his capital city. Well, the problem is, if you remember, the Philistines have been harassing Saul for years and years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
And at one point, the Philistines took the Ark of the Covenant, and then there's all these problems in the Philistine world because of having it. So they send it out and they leave it at some guy's house. And so it's at some guy's house
right.
for a very long time. Obed-Edom, I think, or somebody. No. He's going to drop it off at Obed-Edom's house. So anyways, here's what the Bible says. David decides, you know what we need? We need to bring the Ark of the Covenant, the presence of God, back into Israel, and we're going to bring it to my capital city. He wanted God's presence with him, right?
This is a great passage, too.
And so it says in 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 1, it says, then David gathered all the elite troops in Israel, 30,000 in all. So he has 120,000 fighters, 30,000 elite troops. And it says, he led them to Bala of Judah to bring back the ark of God, which bears the name of the Lord of heaven's armies, who is enthroned between the cherubim. They placed the ark of God on a new cart and brought it from Abinadab's house, which was on a hill. Yeah, it was Abinadab, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Uzzah and Ahio, Abinadab's sons, were guiding the cart as it left the house carrying the ark of God. Ahio walked in front of the ark, and David and all the people of Israel were celebrating before the Lord, singing songs and playing all kinds of musical instruments, lyres and harps and tabrines and castanets and cymbals. But when they arrived at the threshing floor of Nacon, the oxen stumbled, and Uzzah reached out his hand and steadied the ark of God. Then the Lord's anger was aroused against Uzzah, and God struck him dead because of this. So Uzzah died right there beside the ark of God. David was angry because the Lord's anger had burst out against Uzzah. He named the place Perez Uzzah, which means to burst out against Uzzah, as it is still called today. David was now afraid of the Lord, and he asked, how can I ever bring the ark of the Lord back into my care? So David decided not to move the ark of the Lord into the city of David. Instead, he took it to the house of Obed-Edom of Gath. The ark of the Lord remained there in Obed-Edom's house for 3 months, and the Lord blessed Obed-Edom and his entire household. And then we're supposed to read through to verse 17. Is that right?
I do not know.
Yes. So then King David was told, the Lord has blessed Obed-Edom's household and everything he has because of the ark of God. So David went there and brought the ark of God from the house of Obed-Edom to the city of David with a great celebration. After the men who were carrying the ark of the Lord had gone 6 steps, David sacrificed a bull and a fattened calf, and David danced before the Lord with all his might, wearing a priestly garment. So David and all the people of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouts of joy and the blowing of ram's horns. But as the ark of the Lord entered the city of David, Michal, the daughter of Saul, looked down from her window. When she saw King David leaping and dancing before the Lord, she was filled with contempt for him. And they brought the ark of the Lord and set it in its place inside the special tent David had prepared for it. And David sacrificed burnt offerings and peace offerings to the Lord. And when he had finished sacrifices, David blessed the people in the name of the Lord of heaven's armies. And then he gave to every Israelite man and woman in the crowd a loaf of bread, a cake of dates, and a cake of raisins.
That's awesome.
One for you and one for you.
You're getting a cake of raisins. And you're getting a cake of raisins. That's so funny.
David's favorite things.
Right. Yeah, and so this verse was made famous in a famous movie. What was it?
I don't know.
This exact passage that you just read, when it says King David was leaping and dancing before the Lord, and then this actor said, leaping and dancing before the Lord. What did it say David did? David danced before the Lord. It's our time. It's our time to dance. That should be the giveaway. Oh, that's right. You've never seen this movie.
I don't think I've seen it.
It's Footloose.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
I've never seen it.
You've already told me you've never seen this movie.
I've never seen Footloose.
Yeah, that's.
There's a lot of movies I've never seen. I think you've seen all the movies.
No.
And I've only seen some of the movies.
Yeah, well, you've seen hardly any of the movies. Yeah. But yeah, that's right. I remember we shot a Footloose video, and you didn't. You said I've never seen the movie.
Never seen it.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Anyway, this was the verse that they brought up.
Oh, okay.
To defend their right to dance.
Okay.
Isn't that funny?
Well, he danced.
He did.
So I think it's interesting. David desires for God's presence to be in Jerusalem, surrounding his reign. And if we didn't know David well, you'd almost kind of feel like maybe he was looking at the Ark of the Covenant as a good luck charm to protect him. Mm. But we know him well. We know what kind of character he has. We know what kind of man he is. And what he wants is he wants to be a good man. He wants to be a good leader. He wants the benefit of his people. And he wants to make sure that the Philistines and those people, that the Ark of the Covenant of God, which was so incredibly important in the history of Israel, was not just in some warehouse or sitting in some guy's barn. He wanted to bring it out where it should be and put it in a respectful, holy place. So this is an act of worship of David, not just looking for a little bit of good luck. But then, dude, it rattles around because the oxen stumble. Right. Uzzah reaches out and steadies it, and God kills Uzzah.
Yeah. And
you say Uzzah or Uzzah?
I've said Uzzah. Is how I've taught it. And this have you ever heard a message on this? Have you ever heard, like, why did God kill Uzzah for doing what is supposedly a good thing?
It's good. Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah. And I've heard preachers speculate and based on the goodness of God here, but maybe perhaps his motive was he knew that touching the ark was forbidden, right? He knew that, and so really it was the pride of his own heart using the excuse of it rattling for him to reach out and say, "Oh, now I have an excuse," because he always wanted to touch it, right? So it's what's in his heart that actually he was judged for, not from the fact that he was actually trying to do a good thing. I don't know if that's true or not, but it does seem more likely that that's consistent with God's character.
Well, God had said nobody could touch it except the priests.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty clear, and already said there was a death penalty for it.
Right.
So here's what I do know. God doesn't need your help.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right?
Right.
So yeah, you can justify doing the wrong thing. And, I did the wrong thing, but I had a good intent. And God goes, that's not good enough. I said, don't touch it. You're not a priest. Don't touch it. And so he touched the holy thing when it wasn't his to touch.
But the fruit looked good, and it was pleasing to the eye.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, I don't know what his intent is. The Bible doesn't say that. And the Bible doesn't feel the need to justify what his intent was, because he broke the very clear command of God. That's why it had the Ark of the Covenant. If you remember back when we described that a while ago, there were rings, and then they were supposed to run the poles through the rings to pick it up. So other than the high priest, they weren't really even supposed to be around it too much, except when they're carrying it from place to place. And then they weren't supposed to touch it. They were supposed to use these poles to touch it, to pick it up and carry it, all those kinds of things. And so I think that really God killed Uzzah because God had said, I will kill you if you touch it.
Right.
So there's that. So don't touch it so that you don't die. Don't open it, right? All that kind of stuff. And then he does. And it's a reminder that God doesn't need our help.
Because if you do open it, your face will melt off.
Yeah, we saw that in a movie.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's funny / hashtag not funny.
Yeah, but it freaked David out. David's like, dude, I don't want this, and gets mad at God.
Right, and then takes it back to Gath.
Right. That's what the Bible says is David got mad at God. He was angry at God for being angry at Uzzah.
Right.
Right? And the Bible doesn't even blink from that.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say it's right or wrong. It doesn't say nothing. David's like, fine, you're not coming to Jerusalem with me, and left it at Obed-Edom's house in Gath, which is still a Philistine city.
And then God blessed this man,
Obed-Edom,
because he had it in his house, because who knows, maybe God is trying to prove to David that you can, have prosperity with the ark, Yeah. But
I guarantee you Obed-Edom didn't touch it.
I guarantee that's true.
Right.
From that point on, nobody touched it.
So God was demonstrating through Obed-Edom, hey, listen, when you do the right thing, blessing comes.
Yeah.
Right? David, your intent was right. You should bring the ark to Jerusalem. So I'm going to bless Obed, just like you were hoping I would bless you.
So I had also heard a message one time when I was very young, when in verse number 13, it says, after the men who were carrying the ark of the Lord had gone 6 steps, David sacrificed a bull and a fattened calf. So think about the journey of walking all the way back to Jerusalem, and how many steps go into that? How many are there? Tens of thousands of steps,
yeah.
Right? And after 6 steps, David says, stop. Hey, we're going to kill the fattened calf. Do you know how long it takes to kill an animal and clean it and then cook it?
Right.
I mean, that's, hours and hours. And then David's celebrating and having a dance. And I remember this one pastor a long, long time ago said, that means that every time he took 6 steps, they would set it down and have a feast. Then they would take 6 more steps, set it down, have a feast.
Right.
And I said, no, that's not what they said. It just said after the first 6 steps, right? Like there was one feast. It didn't say that. But I just remember thinking that, like, it always stuck out in my mind how he'd said that. And I thought, that is absurd. Tens of thousands of steps. It would take them 17 years to get back to Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, right?
Every 6 steps?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
there's a couple things we skipped in here that we didn't read. You remember, as you read chronologically, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, and 1st and 2nd Kings carry a lot of the same stories.
Right.
And so one of the things that we miss is in this, David is leaping and he's dancing before the Lord. And then we talk about how they had a big party at the tent. The tent is what we'd call the tabernacle, right? Mm-hmm. That's what he did. It's not like he just set up a new tent. He went back and recreated the tabernacle that Moses had, that Joshua would have had, that the other judges would have had. He remakes the tabernacle. He's taking it there, and they're having a big party. This is a great time of worship. And so in 1 Chronicles chapter 16, it says, he passes out the bread and the cakes of dates and raisins, And then he, in verse 4, it says, of 1 Chronicles 16, it says, David appointed the following Levites to lead the people in worship before the ark of the Lord, to invoke his blessings, to give thanks, to praise the Lord, the God of Israel. Asaph, you'll see his name in most of the Psalms, right? He's the choir leader. He's the music director for David. He's the leader of this group, sounded the cymbals. And second to him was Zechariah, followed by Jael, Shemiramoth, Jehiel, Mattathiah.
These are some hard names.
Eliab, Benaiah. I wonder if that's the same Benaiah.
Yeah, maybe.
Obed-Edom. That's the same Obed-Edom. Right. And Jael. And they played the harps and the lyres. And the priests, Benaiah and Jehaziel, played the trumpets regularly before the Ark of God's covenant. So this is a parade, if you think about it. He's got 30,000 soldiers.
Yep.
He's got trumpets and drummers and cymbal players and guitar players, lyres, right? He's got guitar players. He's got all this stuff. It's a big party, and they're having a festival, and they're eating cakes, and they're just having a wonderful time. And David is dancing furiously before the Lord. And Michal, remember Michal was Saul's daughter, who's supposed to be David's wife. She sees David dancing before the Lord, celebrating, worshiping furiously, and she's like, blech, right? And what we haven't read yet is David responds to her. And he goes, oh, you don't like this? I'm going to be, because she said, you're being vulgar. And when she means vulgar, she doesn't mean dirty. She's being common. You're a king and you're acting like this commoner. And he goes, oh, I'll be even more vulgar before the Lord, right? I'm going to dance even wilder and crazier. And so,
yeah, we didn't read that, did we?
Yeah, no. It's so there's going to be a whole bunch more. David sings this big song of praise. He's got all this other stuff that comes on, and then
what's the phrase? Well, how's it actually phrased? I'll become even more undignified than this.
Yes,
that's what it is.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yep.
And which is a great phrase.
So he wasn't worried about his dignity in his worship. He was just all in, and he was inviting the people. What a great king! In this moment, it could have been, look what I did. I brought the Ark of the Covenant back to the people, and I rebuilt the tabernacle. Look what I did. And he didn't do that. It could have been super dignified. Instead, he was rejoicing and celebrating. He was out in front of everybody, leading everybody to be celebrating the fact that God's presence was back with the people. Yeah. And then he appoints this really great band. The band's rocking out. Everybody's having a big time. And somebody looks at him and goes, I don't approve of your worship. And he's like, I don't care what you think.
Right.
I'm going to keep worshiping God.
Well, it's a great challenge for all of us, right? When we worship, we should, just not worry about whatever anybody else is thinking. We need to be reminded it's corporate worship together, but it's also an individual expression of you and God, which means don't worry about what everybody thinks and how people are watching. You just worship. Yeah. As you see fit.
Yeah. 1 Corinthians 14 says what we should be concerned about is what did the lost people see. Right? So he's saying, you don't make the worship only about you, right? It's about you celebrating God, and then be aware of the fact that lost people are watching. So it should make sense. They shouldn't go, hey, he just lost his mind here. Right. So Paul talks about that part of it. But what we shouldn't do is, hey, you want to raise your hands, you want to sing loudly. David says just make a joyful noise. He doesn't say do a good job. Later on, he says play skillfully with a loud noise. But make a joyful noise first and celebrate and get into it. Don't just stand back. So many people miss out on the impact of a great worship moment because they choose to just sit back and watch rather than engage. And the king was not ashamed of being undignified in his worship. And so if he wasn't, then we shouldn't either.
That's right. That's good. Well, that's a great place to end, and hopefully we will see you next time on The Bible Guys.